second year in LA. After Bridge Fieldhouse, and this Fever offense has swings. Clark on a step back.
They have size at every position.
Last time these two teams matched up, this is Odyssey Sim. LA played well in Dallas too, and that's an open
blitzed a handful of times.
And it's Nia Jackson averaging 13 points per
break, and you can't let Kelsey Mitchell get.
She's pulling away a big lead. Going to work on Stevens, and here is Stevens, who will launch 3 times here in the opening 3 minutes. Indiana with the defense. Lexi Hull going coast.
Enough changes for this team.
Here's Mitchell putting on the move. Hamby goes back to work, and the scoop shot. Clark, step back, hit. Here is Hamby, who will fire from.
Did all the hard stuff.
To win Rookie of the Month and Player. Here is Nalissa Smith, fire away. 11th in the WNBA as Cameron Brink. The coaching award, so.
It is New York, the top team in the league.
Like Kelsey Mitchell was equally, if not more. Hamby just puts her head down for the franchise.
No question. She said 4, maybe 3. The Fever in the 6th spot.
Odyssey Sims finds some space. The hesitation. Clark gets inside. Here's Hamby fighting through traffic, flips it up. Turned it over 4 times.
Katie Lou Samuelson getting some minutes.
Here is Stevens on the roll. Oh, Mitchell, hand off Boston. And Mitchell, catch and shoot, whistle.
100. It's amazing.
And Mitchell leads all scorers.
Mitchell doing a really good job fronting Rikia in the perimeter right now.
Here's Lee Yaroo.
Goal post who can run off screening.
Backdoor pass finds Kia Nurse. The Fever turnover, so it hasn't hurt them. Jackson, nice footwork. Boston flips her shoulder, and it's an offense. Ray Burrell, who's just checked in. Clark stepping back on the baseline.
To her game as well.
Burrell attacking the baseline, and shots because of that turnover.
Right, relax just a tad. You're playing.
Clark will launch off balance. Fan of Indiana pro basketball. Nurse misses on a 3. There's Lee back.
You can say that about the Indiana Fever.
Here in May, Clark, highest scoring game, had more than that in a season.
To spend on all the numbers.
The bounce, Dantas charging inside baseline. There's Burrell through trap.
Post players, Smith. And it's like a defensive fake.
There's Nurse stepping back, launching, and hit. Here's Clark floating it up. Denial, but on a second.
Fast break opportunities.
Nurse stepping back and rattles that.
Of it quickly. You got to move the ball.
9th in the WNBA, so it's a little below.
Turnover margin, a +2 rebound.
On the moves, Clark.
Better than 17 points a game.
Kelsey Mitchell as she steps into a 2. Right there with Ray Burrell and Kia Nurse.
Help Indiana.
Dantas over a double. Sims on the drive, draws the foul. He put together a fine evening. 10 points. Here, Indiana's only got one more road
to execute in the quarter court, and now with some mismatches.
Mitchell trying to get this Indiana offense kick-start.
He's on the season.
And
a home of the Imps. Same place as
Clark, good feed into Boston. Here's Azare again. Oh, doing her
D.
And Boston on the other end. Oh, May.
And executive of the year in this league. Really.
Well, worth noting that times it does. It's a 2-year Vegas a couple of times. And they've got some impressive. Has it rim outs. Hit just 3 threes. All
W because they work.
Here's Burrell fighting inside and getting a backdoor cut. It's Mitchell.
What a tremendous defense.
Minutes. We haven't seen Christy Wallace
coming off the bench again. Of course, Dearica Hamby.
WNBA level this year. Here is Hamby trying to create, driving on Samuelson.
Was a starter on this team, number 2 pick, and we have. And Cameron, we're sending our best to you. And for Rikia, it's like you're going to be an all-star.
Advantage on Wheeler and Jack.
You're a rookie. That's impressive.
Oh, Clark. Here's Talbot. Sims into hole. And Mitchell on the drive, turns the corner and gets to
over pads, over the thigh pads.
Break. Smith going one-on-one.
That's out of that play.
Here's Stevens. Top 3-point shooting teams in the league. Stevens will try it again.
Has his team blitz.
He's finding some room to work down there. Not on a regular roster deal, Souls, but not a full-time gig. He's able to shovel it there to Stevens. Team, it frees up Boston. I had my mind on the gridiron.
Penalty on the official.
Here in the second half. Hamby with a crossover, driving into Smith. Lee Clark crossing over and drops. Sims giving chase. Shoot. Caitlin Clark as Jackson throws up a wide. This is for Boston. Here is Hamby on the other end, spinning. Boston couldn't finish on the other end. A chance for
14 points, 6, 13, 12, and 13.
And Nurse a little
time out or a substitution.
Sims to switch on to Boston, driving on Boston.
In Dallas.
On the drive, Clark hangs and banks it. Stopper. Jackson turning on left. Trying to establish the hoist from way outside. Sitting on 16 points here so far. Clark launching.
Mismatch for Azurá Stevens. It's a space to snake behind. You put a lot of pressure
For Smith. The other end, Nurse is open. And base decision for Christie Sides. Extra pass. It's one. Indiana back up 5 and Clark trying to answer. You break out of that here as Sims on the drive.
Like to run for Kelsey Mitchell.
Nurse weaving her way inside and is Boston back for Clark. Flips it over to Burrell, who's open. Clark back for work to do here to try to nail action. Dantas fading, fire
Action's tough to guard. What a take by
driving on Burrell, hangs and can't.
Guarded by Mitchell and Clark.
And Sparks have just not. Boston spinning inside.
Nobody in the league runs more.
Clark lobbing inside. Oh, difficult. Beaver hit with a moving screen there from Clark. Step back, hits a three. Going behind the back. Oh, it's.
Let me correct myself.
Will she get it off in time? Just does. Mitchell pulling up. Hamby rolling, runs into hole.
Fantastic.
Streaming free on the CBS Sports app. Indianapolis. 3-on-2. Sims taking it right up the middle with the rebound. Oh, pretty spin. Christie Sides. Burrell catch and shoot. Whoa, wait.
Point shooter open.
Mitchell, that's a deep defensive end. And they lost Hamby. And averaging 18 points per game. That's
a remarkable run by
Mitchell hoists and had it happen
for a 10th assist.
Gets reinforced. And Hamby right into Smith. Maybe got away with Stilly in the first quarter. Indiana has been much more. Smith lost the handle. Shot clock to move. Floats it up. Gets it. Smith on the drive. Smith lays it in. Going here in the fourth quarter. Sims on the floor right now. Lets it fry. 11 assists and 12 rebounds
to close out games, right? And they stop.
Burrell catch and shoot. Off thought about the three and traveled. She'll back her way in. Backing in on.
That's a really good ATO by Indiana.
And a big Nurse drives inside. Sims picks her pockets. And Sims. Mitchell will take it herself. On the back, here's a Boston three. Nurse is left open. She. Boston. Mitchell. Big break. Have we called her name?
17 for 25.
Nurse off the screen, bouncing for Ham.
Not the foul here. I like the strategy. Play
three, drives her way inside. Muscles to.
It's taking too long, I think.
Not surprising. And it's up. It won't go.
Players are looking up to you. You know, you got to be a leader. And for Rikia, it's like you're going to be an all-star.
This group. Back within a point here. Looking inside, here's Jackson has the size advantage on Wheeler. And Jackson.
In the W, when the game slows down and you're a rookie, that's impressive.
Oh, Clark.
Indiana handles it.
Here's Talbot. Sims into hole. And Mitchell on the drive, turns the corner and gets to the
Archie Griffin style, if you will. Shoulder pads over the thigh pads.
His offense has exploded here out of the Olympic break. Smith going one-on-one.
They're all willing passers out of that play.
Here's Stevens.
Your arm falls off, Azurá.
Indiana, one of the top three-point shooting teams in the league.
Knocking down threes.
Stevens will try it again.
That's the way I want to start it. Kurt Miller has his team blitz.
In 8. She's finding some room to work down there. Hard to believe she's not on a regular roster deal. Salas was great on those deals, but not a full-time gig. Nurse able to shovel it there to Stevens. Clark once again seeing double team. It frees up Boston. References, so just kind of had my mind on the gridiron.
Penalty on the official.
Out of it. They've taken better care of the ball here in the second half. Just driving on Clark, feeds it back for Hamby. Hamby with a crossover, driving into Smith. Lead points, 7 assists here so far. Clark crossing over and dropped with a steal. Clark off to the races. Sims giving chase. Shoot. A little 5-0 burst from Caitlin Clark as Jackson throws up a wide. Clark off the screen, bounces for Boston. Here is Hamby on the other end, spinning down the first. Boston couldn't finish on the other end, a chance for line.
Caitlin Clark, 14 points, 6 by 7th against New York, 19, 12, and 13.
And had it knocked away. Good hands there by Hamby. And Nurse a little.
Change the rhythm of the game. Sometimes it's a timeout or a substitution. You play the same all the time.
Sims to switch on to Boston, driving on Boston.
She averaged 17 points on a hardship in Dallas.
Four-point run by the Sparks. Clark being watched by Nurse. Clark on the drive. Clark hangs and banks it.
Really can't stop her.
Jackson turning on left. Trying to establish. Clock down to 5. Sims gonna have to hoist from way outside. Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, each sitting on 16 points here so far. The switch on to Lee. Here is Clark launching.
She snakes behind it, and she creates this mismatch for Azurá Stevens. When there's that much space to snake behind, you put a lot of pressure.
Putting on the moves. Mitchell on the drive, drops it for Smith. Way too strong. Sims has it on the other end. Nurse is open. And well, kind of a matchup-based decision for Christie Sides. Clark on the drive, behind the back to Boston. Extra pass. It's working up good looks for great looks. Indiana back up 5 and
Reed triples.
Clark trying to answer. You have it, but we are starting to break out of that here as Sims on the drive. The night is almost what you expect from her.
Off that Iverson action, that's an action they like to run for Kelsey Mitchell.
Nurse weaving her way inside and is
couldn't level to finish off the season.
Boston back for Clark. Clark's hit 3 of them. Sims whips it over to Burrell, who's open.
Clark
does get it to her. Clark back for center parts. Indiana, a lot of work to do here to try to nail.
Half has been better in their court action.
Dantas fading fire.
Oh, that scissor action's tough to guard. What a take by
Split the double. Clark driving on Burrell, hangs and can't.
Uru is being guarded by Mitchell and Clark.
And Sparks have just not a little out of sync at times. Boston spinning inside.
Such a good two-man game. Nobody in the league runs more.
Clark lobbing inside. Oh, difficult.
Out of that high post area.
Beaver hit with a moving screen. Backcourts. A little frustration there from Clark. Clark, step back. Hits a 3. Here comes Clark going the other way. Clark going behind the back. Oh, it's of her recent games.
And let me correct myself.
With a shot clock down to 2. Nurse, will she get it off in time? Just does.
She creates separation.
Mitchell pulling up. Hamby rolling, runs into hole.
I've seen that since the Olympic break. She's been fantastic.
In Omaha, you will be able to find it streaming free on the CBS Sports app. With just over 6 minutes to go here from Indianapolis. The turnover. Here comes Sims with a 3-on-2. Sims taking it right up the middle. Connect on that 3. Smith with the rebound. Oh, pretty spin.
For Indiana.
Christie Sides in need of her. Burrell catch and shoot. Whoa, wait.
This Indiana overhelps and leaves the three-point shooter open.
Mitchell, that's a deep 2. Weaver Needham stops on the defensive end. And they lost Hamby. 30-year-old De'Erica Hamby, averaging 18 points per game. That's...
And then ended up getting in the medal round. It was really a remarkable run by the
session there for Indiana. Shot clock down to 3. Mitchell hoists and had it. How?
Caitlin's looking for her 10th assist.
Gets reinforced.
Getting the ball to the right place.
And 22 points. Burrell bouncing here for Hamby. Right into Smith. Maybe got away with. That was a big problem, especially in the first quarter. Indiana has been much more. She's got 20 points here tonight. Smith lost the handle. Shot clock down. Hamby attacking Boston. Spin move. Floats it up. Gets it. Clark. Boston. Here is Smith on the drive. Smith lays it in. Smith getting going here in the fourth quarter. Sims on group here. Now, a lot of veterans on the floor right now. Clark the switch on to Talbot. Clark lets it fly. Combined for 40 points, 11 assists, and 12 rebounds.
Indiana has relied on their defense to close out games, right? And they're in the game right here. Let's see what they can get a stop.
Burrell catch and shoot off. Talbot back up top. Hamby thought about the three and traveled. Might have had Mitchell there for a moment. Instead, she'll back her way in. Backing in on.
That's a really good ATO by Indiana.
And a big for LA. Nurse drives inside, shy, but that time turns it over. Sims picks her pockets, and Sims. Mitchell will take it herself on the. Mitchell whips it back. Here's a Boston three. Cross court, Nurse is left open. Mitchell, shot clock down to 5, doesn't like it. Boston, Mitchell. How often here out of the Olympic break have we called her not?
I mean, she's been 17 for 25.
Nurse off the screen, bouncing for Ham.
Kurt Miller electing not to foul here. I like the strategy. Play.
Boston, shot clock down to 3, drives her way inside, muscles to.
This play's taking too long, I think.
WNBA, not surprising. And
Play.
it's up, it won't go.